If you're constantly walking on eggshells around a woman, chances are she's already playing you, not with fists, not with threats, but with silence, guilt, shame, and sweet manipulation wrapped in a smile. Manipulative women don't need strength. They only need your weakness. And most men, they hand it over like a gift. This video isn't about becoming toxic. It's about never being prey again. Too many men are losing themselves trying to keep the peace with women who thrive on emotional warfare. This stops now. Today I'm giving you 8 stoic tactics, not to fight her, but to make her lose power the second she tries to control you. You won't yell, you won't argue. You'll stand in such calm, masculine presence, she won't know what hit her. Let's be real, most men give away their power. They over-explain, they chase. They apologize for breathing too loud. They've been trained to fear being called cold more than they fear losing their own soul. And that's exactly why she keeps testing you. Not because she wants to win, but because deep down, she wants to feel a man who won't fold. Control her. No, control yourself so deeply. Her games collapse on impact. Tactic 1. The stone-faced response. Never react emotionally to her storms, become her silence. You want to know how to instantly shift the power dynamic with a manipulative woman. Don't react. That's it. Sounds simple, but it's rare, and that's why it works. Let me paint the picture. She's standing there, voice raised, eyes locked on yours. Maybe she's crying. Maybe she's yelling, accusing you of not caring, accusing you of doing something wrong, twisting your words, rewriting the truth. She's banking on one thing, your emotional collapse. She needs you to defend yourself, to argue back, to chase, to validate. Because when you do, she wins. But when you stand there calm, still, unmoved, her entire strategy falls apart. You don't explain, you don't argue, you don't match her energy. You hold the frame. That is the stone-faced response. It's not passive, it's power in restraint. You maintain eye contact, not in anger, not in arrogance, but in quiet dominance. Your jaw relaxed, your body still. She throws fire, you stay cold. Why does this work? Because manipulation feeds on chaos. When you get emotional, you give her leverage. When you get reactive, you give her control. But when your face stays unreadable and your energy unshaken, she's left spinning in her own emotional storm alone. It's like trying to punch water. Nothing hits, nothing lands. She'll test you harder the first few times. She'll push more buttons, but that's the point. She's not just trying to hurt you, she's testing if you can be broken. And when you prove that you can't, she recalibrates. Subconsciously, she respects you more. Not because you shouted louder, but because you didn't flinch. Here's how you use this today. Maintain eye contact. Don't stare her down, but don't look away like a coward. Hold your gaze calmly. Stay silent when emotions are high. Let her words echo in the air. Let the silence expose the absurdity. Don't justify. Don't defend. When she tries to bait you into explaining your decisions, don't. Breathe slowly. Ground yourself in your breath, not in her energy. Exit if needed. If the storm escalates, calmly walk away. No slam, no drama, just control. Remember, this silence is not surrender. It's dominance, cloaked in discipline. Become the stillness she can't penetrate, and you'll become the one force she can no longer manipulate. Tactic 2. Walk away power. Your feet are your power. Use them. Most men stay. They stay when disrespected. They stay when their boundaries are shattered. They stay when they're being tested, insulted, manipulated, because they're afraid of what might happen if they don't. Let me tell you something brutal. If a woman knows you won't walk away, she will push further. She will escalate, because she's already figured out. You're trapped, not physically, emotionally. That's why walk away power is one of the deadliest weapons a stoic man can wield. You don't raise your voice. You don't argue. You just leave. Not with slamming doors or dramatic speeches. With calm, with silence, with certainty. You get up, you walk, and you don't look back. Here's the scenario. She's baiting you, throwing passive-aggressive comments, testing your limits. She says something sharp, maybe subtle, maybe cruel, just to watch you squirm. She wants you to react, to beg, to chase. Instead, you stand up, grab your keys and say nothing. You're out the door. She'll be stunned, because when you walk away without warning or apology, she realizes something powerful. She does not control your presence. She does not control your attention. And she damn sure doesn't control your peace. Why does it break her? Because a manipulative woman's power depends on access. She wants you in her emotional playground, where she pulls the strings and you dance. But when you leave the game entirely, she loses. And not only does she lose, she questions everything. A man who can leave is a man she can't own. And that's the one man she truly fears. Now here's how you implement walk-away power today. Set a boundary, internally. Know what you will and won't tolerate. Decide before you're tested. Don't announce it. This isn't about threats or ultimatums. This is about action. Stay calm. Your power comes from how unfazed you are. No emotional exit, just presence. Walk away from conversations, dates, phone calls, anything that disrespects your peace. And mean it. When you leave, mean it. No follow-up texts, no explanations. Let the silence speak. Understand this. A man who can leave is a man who can't be caged. And the moment she realizes you don't need to stay is the moment she starts to act like she wants you to. Walk away not to punish her. Walk away to protect your standard. And watch how fast the game shifts. Tactic 3. Stoic delay. Delay your response. Make her sit with her own chaos. There's a weapon every manipulative woman uses, and most men never see it coming. It's not her looks, not her voice. It's her urgency. She sends a text, and your phone lights up like an alarm bell. 5 messages, 1 minute apart. All caps. Where are you? Answer me. Why are you ignoring me? You think this is funny? Wow. Just wow. And what do most guys do? They respond immediately. They panic. They try to fix it. They explain. They apologize. Because they've been trained to fear disconnection. But the Stoic man does the opposite. He waits. That's the power of Stoic delay. You don't react to her urgency. You don't jump when summoned. You let her sit in her own chaos. You let the emotional storm burn out on its own. No chasing. No typing bubbles. No read receipts. Just silence. Hours pass. Maybe a day. And when you finally respond, if you even do, it's calm. It's composed. It's low energy. Was busy. No need to blow up. End of story. Why does this tactic break her? Because manipulative women need control of time. They want you reactive, flustered, tense. They create urgency to trap you into their energy. If she controls when you respond, she controls how you respond. But when you delay, when you make her wait, you flip the script. Suddenly, she's the one pacing. She's the one overthinking. She's the one caught in a spiral. And guess what? In that space, her power fades. The drama she tried to pull you into dies on its own. Here's how to apply Stoic delay right now. Turn off read receipts. You don't owe anyone the timestamp of your attention. Don't respond under pressure. If you feel tension rising when you read a message, pause. That's your cue to delay. Create time distance. Let hours pass, even a full day. Then respond with calm brevity. Never mirror her energy. If she sends a paragraph, reply with a sentence. Emotionally neutral. Reward calm, not chaos. When she's peaceful, you're responsive. When she's erratic, you're silent. Understand this. You're not punishing her with delay. You're protecting your energy budget. Every message you send in reaction drains your power. Every moment you wait in silence multiplies it. Let time work for you. Let her feel the distance, and watch how quickly her chaos begins to fear your calm. Tactic 4. The mirror of accountability. Don't argue. Just reflect her behavior back to her calmly. Manipulative women don't argue to solve problems. They argue to win control, to twist reality, to project their flaws onto you, and make you feel like the problem. And the moment you start defending yourself, you've already lost. That's why the mirror of accountability is one of the sharpest weapons you'll ever carry. You don't attack, you don't explain, you simply hold up a mirror. and let her see herself. Here's the scenario. She calls you cold, says you've been distant, that you're emotionally unavailable. But you've noticed her pulling back for weeks. Less affection, less warmth, less respect. So what do you say? Not "I'm sorry," not "that's not true," not "let me explain." You say you've been distant too. That's it. No raised voice, no sarcasm, no emotion, just facts, calm, clear, surgical. She throws the blame at you, and you hand it back, not as a weapon, as a reflection. Why does this tactic break her? Because accountability is a language. Manipulators don't speak. They live off projection. They blame you for what they're doing. They create fog, emotional distortion, to keep themselves feeling clean. But when you reflect their behavior back without emotion, the fog lifts. Now she has to look at what she's actually doing. And manipulators don't do well under direct light. It strips the control away. It disarms the guilt tactics. And it silently says, you don't get to rewrite the truth. Here's how to use the mirror of accountability. Like a Stoic warrior, keep your voice low and calm. This isn't about matching energy. It's about neutralizing it. Repeat her exact phrases against her. She says, "You're never here for me." You say, "You've barely spoken to me this week." Don't justify, just observe. That's how you've been acting too. Let the truth hang in the air. Use short, direct sentences. Precision is power. The fewer words, the harder they land. Avoid sarcasm or emotional jabs. That's bait. Stay above it. Kings don't explain. They reflect. Final truth. If you argue with her, you step into her arena. But if you mirror her calmly, you change the game. You make her sit in her own logic. You make her face the reflection she's been running from. You don't need to win the argument. You just need to make sure it's happening in reality, not her fantasy. Tactic verve. Minimal words, maximum weight. Say less, mean more. The most dangerous thing a manipulative woman can do is drag you into a conversation you never should have had. She asks a question, then another, then twists your answer. She builds a case against you based on your own words, and most men, they keep talking. They explain, defend, justify, apologize, and in doing so, they dig their own grave, one sentence at a time. But a Stoic man knows the rule. Power is preserved in silence. That's why the tactic is simple, yet brutal. Minimal words, maximum weight. Here's the scenario. She hits you with a barrage of questions. Why didn't you tell me? Are you hiding something? Do you even care about us? She's not asking to understand. She's asking to trap, to create doubt, to escalate emotion. You don't fall for it. You look her in the eye and say, "I told you what I needed to. I don't play games. I'm not arguing about this." That's it. No long-winded paragraphs. No emotional detours. Just calm, short, direct, final. Why does it break her? Because manipulation relies on volume, not just emotional volume, but verbal noise. She wants confusion. She wants you flustered. When you stay silent, or deliver a 5-word sentence with full presence, she's got nothing to twist. Your clarity becomes confrontation. Your brevity becomes dominance. And suddenly she's the one searching for words. Understand, you don't win with more words. You win with weight. You speak like a king, because kings don't explain, they decree. Here's how to master minimal words. Maximum weight. Train your responses. Write 5 mind 10 one-liner statements you can use in pressure situations. Stick to them. Slow down your speech. The slower you speak, the more control you radiate. Cut the fluff. Strip every sentence to its essence. Remove, "I just feel like," and "maybe I was." Let silence do the heavy lifting. After you speak, pause. Let her sit in the echo. Never repeat yourself. If you've said it once, it's enough. Repetition equals weakness in her mind. Final warning. The more you talk, the more power you leak. The more you explain, the more she digs. So stop feeding the fire. Stand in your truth. Speak it once, then say no more. Because a man who speaks less makes every word feel like thunder. Tactic 6. Indifference to guilt. When she uses guilt, you don't flinch, you double down. There's a manipulation tactic, older than time itself, and it's used by women who know exactly how to exploit weak men. Guilt. Not direct confrontation, not threats, just carefully chosen words that twist your conscience against you. If you really cared, if you loved me, after everything I've done for you, and what happens? You fold, you compromise your values, you abandon your plans, not because you were wrong, but because you were guilted into obedience. But here's what a Stoic man understands. Guilt is only effective against men who need approval. If your self-worth comes from her validation, you're already owned. That's why this tactic is non-negotiable. Indifference to guilt. She says, if you loved me, you'd cancel your trip. If you were a real man, you'd do what I need. If you cared about this relationship, you wouldn't act like this. Your response: stillness, no emotion, no apology, no backpedaling. You say, I love you, but I'm not betraying myself to prove it. Or maybe you say nothing at all and just keep moving. Why does this break her? Because guilt is emotional blackmail. It's not a request, it's a trap. It's built on the assumption that you're still trying to win her approval. But when you stop chasing validation, her tool set collapses. You've unplugged her most reliable weapon, and suddenly she's dealing with a man she can't move. Here's how to master indifference to guilt. Clarify your principles. If you don't know your boundaries, she'll define them for you. Respond with calm certainty. Never anger, never defense, just grounded truth. Detach from her approval. Respect her, but don't need her to agree with you. Expect the guilt. When you level up, it will come. See it as confirmation, not conflict. Stay the course. The more she pushes, the firmer you stand. Guilt only works if you move. Let this settle in. A manipulative woman will always test the edge of your spine. She'll wrap her requests in emotion. She'll call it love. She'll call it care. But at the core, it's a power play. If your values bend every time she cries, pleads or pouts, you're not a man, you're a puppet. So next time she tries to guilt trip you into submission, don't flinch, don't explain, just hold your line and double down. Because the moment she realizes guilt has no grip on you, she either levels up or walks away. Either way, you win. Tactic 7, purpose first always. She can't manipulate a man who worships mission, not her mood. Let's get this straight. If a woman can derail your focus with a pout, a scream, or a guilt trip, you were never on purpose to begin with. You were just pretending. Because a man who's truly locked into his mission doesn't flinch when emotions fly. He doesn't cancel workouts to soothe drama. He doesn't skip business calls because someone doesn't feel supported. He doesn't trade purpose for peace. And that's why purpose first always is not just a tactic, it's the spine of all masculine power. Here's the scenario. You're getting ready for the gym, or maybe you've carved out 2 hours for your side hustle. She knows this, but suddenly, here comes the storm. She's upset, emotional, passive-aggressive, accusatory. You feel the pull. Maybe I should stay, just this once. Keep her happy. That's the trap. Because once she sees you abandon purpose for her mood, she knows she controls the schedule. She knows she outranks your grind. And from that moment on, she becomes the mission. But a Stoic man, he doesn't waver. You say, we'll talk later. I've got work. And you walk out the door, calm, unbothered, focused. Why does this break her? Because it shatters the illusion that her emotions are your compass. She's used to men pivoting around her energy. So when you keep moving regardless of the emotional noise, she's forced to either respect your direction or get left behind. It's not cruelty, it's clarity. Your mission doesn't pause for feelings. Your grind doesn't reschedule for mood swings. And your future doesn't wait for her to calm down. Here's how to install purpose first, always into your life. Write your daily non-negotiables, not suggestions, non-negotiables. Your gym time, your deep work hours, your discipline rituals. Post them where you can see them. Treat them like sacred law. Explain once, then enforce. Let her know this is my focus window. If she disrespects it, keep going anyway. Detach from her reaction. She may sulk, she may rage. Stay grounded. You're not her therapist, you're a builder. Let her orbit you, not the other way around. Women respect what you protect. Protect your purpose. Final truth. A woman might cry over your discipline, but she'll secretly crave it. She may resist it, but she'll test to see if you actually have it. Because deep down, every woman wants a man who's hard to distract, a man who leads himself first. So next time she throws a tantrum before you hit the grind, don't pause, don't fold, don't even raise your voice. Just walk out the door and let her learn purpose outranks everything. Tactic 8. Presence without attachment. Be fully there but not dependent. That's the ultimate strength. This is the rarest energy a man can carry, and the one that completely dismantles emotional manipulation, because most men only show up in two modes, clingy or cold. They're either overly invested, trying to please, fix and secure a woman's love, or they disconnect entirely, pretending they don't care while secretly breaking inside. Neither is power, neither is stoic. Presence without attachment is different. It's when you show up fully, focused, warm, engaged, but your identity isn't hanging on her mood. You're emotionally available, but not emotionally enslaved. You're there, but you could walk at any time. Here's the scenario. You're out to dinner. She's throwing little tests, subtle digs, cold body language, power plays. Most men either react emotionally or shut down and match the energy. You don't. You sit tall, you smile calmly, you stay engaged, but there's a quiet energy behind your eyes that says, I don't need this, I choose this, and I can leave it if it becomes disrespectful. That's the power. She feels your presence, but she also senses your detachment. She knows you're there because you want to be, not because you're afraid to be alone. Not because you're afraid to be alone. Not because you're desperate to keep her. And that changes everything. Why does it break her manipulation? Because she can't control a man who isn't seeking her approval. She can't bend a man who doesn't fear the fallout. She can't guilt a man who's already complete. Manipulation only works when she senses your need. Take that away, and the strings go slack. Here's how to master presence without attachment. Become whole alone. If you're not solid without her, you'll always lean too hard when you're with her. Build your inner world first. Detach from outcome. Every conversation, every relationship, every moment, you're in, but you're never hooked. Stay grounded in discomfort. When she tests you with attitude, silence or power games, hold your center. Don't mirror chaos. Know your exit point. Have quiet internal boundaries. The moment they're crossed, you can walk, and she knows it. Lead with presence, not pressure. Be fully engaged. Listen, connect, but never cling, never chase. Final truth. The most magnetic men are those who don't flinch under emotional weight. They're present, yes, but they're not possessed. They can love a woman deeply, without being consumed. And that paradox drives her wild, because she sees your calm, she feels your focus, and deep down, she knows if she plays games, she loses something rare. You so show up like a man who doesn't need to beg force or prove. Be present, be powerful, be free. You don't need to yell, you don't need to fight, you don't even need to explain. You just need to stop losing to yourself. Every time you chase, argue, or bend, you hand over your power, and when you do, manipulation wins, because it feeds on your emotional weakness. But these tactics, they aren't about dominating her, they're about mastering you. Because when you become calm in chaos, when you lead with discipline, silence and purpose, the games stop working, become unshakable, and her manipulation becomes pointless. Pick one tactic, just one, use it today, and watch how fast the energy shifts. Hold eye contact, walk away, say less, stick to your mission. She won't expect it, because most men are still out here begging for scraps of peace. But not you, not anymore. Comment below, which tactic hit the hardest for you? Which one are you going to master first? And if you're done being played, if you're done being reactive, confused and weak, subscribe now. This is where boys get rebuilt. This is where silence wins. This is where stoic men are made. Let's get to work.